What's the highest number anyone has ever counted to? Well, Jeremy Harper counted to 1 million out loud, which took him 89 days. He probably wasn't very popular with his neighbors. What's a googol? It's 1 followed by 100 zeros. It's such a big number. It's larger than the number of atoms in the observable universe. So, if you're planning on counting to a googol, better pack a lunch and maybe a few extra lifetimes. What's the most common number in the world? It's surprisingly difficult to say definitively, but some studies suggest it's 1. Talk about an overachiever. What's so special about the number 6174? It's known as Capraker's constant. If you take any 4-digit number with at least 2 different digits, arrange the digits in ascending and descending order, subtract the smaller number from the larger one, and repeat the process, you'll eventually reach 6174. Math is weird. What's the only number that is spelled with letters in alphabetical order? 40. It's also the only number whose letters are in reverse alphabetical order. Show off. What's the magic about the number 1729? It's known as the Hardy-Ramanujan number. It's the smallest number that can be expressed as the sum of 2 cubes in 2 different ways. Math nerds, rejoice. What's the significance of the number pi? It represents the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. It's an irrational number, meaning its decimal representation goes on forever without repeating. It's also a delicious dessert. Wait, that's pi. What's the golden ratio? Approximately 1.618, it's a mathematical ratio found throughout nature. From seashells to galaxies. It's also supposedly the key to aesthetic beauty, though I'm still waiting for it to work its magic on me. What's the Fibonacci sequence? Each number is the sum of the 2 preceding ones e.g., 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. It appears everywhere in nature, from flower petals to rabbit populations. Rabbits are math wizards, apparently. What's a perfect number? A number that is equal to the sum of its proper divisors, excluding the number itself. 6 is the smallest perfect number. 1, 2, 3, 6. Perfect numbers are rare like common sense. What's a Mersenne prime? A prime number that is 1 less than a power of 2. They're named after Marin Mersenne, a French monk who studied them in the 17th century. Monks and math, an unlikely but apparently successful pairing. What's the largest known prime number? It has over 24 million digits. If you printed it out, it would fill a small library or a very large bathroom. What's so special about the number 7? It's considered lucky in many cultures, possibly because it's the sum of 3. A mystical number in many traditions, and 4 representing the 4 directions. It's also the number of days in a week, which can feel both lucky and unlucky depending on the day. What's the fear of the number 13 called? Triskaidekaphobia. It's also a great word to use in Scrabble if you can remember how to spell it. What's a palindromic number? A number that reads the same forwards and backward, like 121 or 12,321. They're also surprisingly easy to remember, unlike my passwords. What's a vampire number? A composite number that can be factored into 2 numbers, whose digits are all the digits of the original number, in any order. For example, 1260 equals 21 times 60. Spooky. What's a happy number? A number that eventually reaches 1. When replaced by the sum of the square of each digit. 19 is a happy number. Happy numbers are the opposite of sad numbers probably. What's an abundant number? A number whose sum of proper divisors is greater than the number itself. 12 is an abundant number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 6, 1, 2. They're always giving more than they take. What's a deficient number? A number whose sum of proper divisors is less than the number itself. Most numbers are deficient, kind of like my bank account. What's a twin prime? A pair of prime numbers that differ by 2e. They're like prime number best friends, always close by. What's a factorial? The product of all positive integers less than or equal to a given number. 5 factorial, written as 5, is 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 equals 120. Factorials grow very quickly like my to-do list. What's an imaginary number? A number that when squared gives a negative result. The imaginary unit, I, is defined as the square root of -1. Imaginary numbers are, well, imaginary. What's a complex number? A number that can be expressed in the form a plus by, where n and b are real numbers and I is the imaginary unit. Complex numbers are complicated. What's a transcendental number? A number that is not the root of any non-zero polynomial with integer coefficients. Pi and e are transcendental numbers. They transcend understanding. What's Graham's number? It's so large that it's impossible to write down. Even using scientific notation, it's beyond comprehension and probably beyond usefulness. What's a googolplex? It's 1 followed by a googol zeros. If you tried to write it out, you'd run out of universe before you ran out of zeros. What's Sque's number? A large number used in number theory, so large it makes a googolplex look tiny. It's named after Stanley Squews, who probably had a lot of free time. What's Moser's number? Another ridiculously large number used in mathematics. It makes Sque's number look like a rounding error. It's named after Leo Moser, who clearly liked big numbers. What's a Smith number? A composite number where the sum of its digits is equal to the sum of the digits of its prime factorization. 4 is the smallest Smith number. Other examples include 22, 27, 58, 85, 94, and, yes, even 4,937,775. Smith numbers are surprisingly common. Smith numbers are specific. What's a sociable number? Numbers that form a closed loop, where the sum of the proper divisors of each number equals the next number in the sequence, eventually looping back to the first number. They're like a prime number chain, only more social. What's the smallest number that can be expressed as the sum of 2 primes in 2 different ways? 10. Even small numbers can have hidden depths. What's the largest perfect number currently known? It has over 44 million digits. It's so perfect, it's almost intimidating.